I'm sorry. I don't think I put it in there. Yes, I did. Hello there, my friends. Hopefully we will be being joined by some people and see that we are actually live. It looks like we're live. And 2 times in one day, that's kind of unusual.
Yes, very unusual. But we feel like today there's information that we need to get out there. Hello, Miss Karen. Oh, and there's Miss Christina. I was just fixing to text you.
Third in line really is third in line. Look at that.
Isn't that's so appropriate?
That's perfect.
That's fun.
That's a synchronicity right there.
Yes.
Hey there, Brother Jeff. Chris Marr, good to see you. Billy as well. Hello and welcome. Arizona Raven in the house.
It's great to see you guys filling up. Really happy to see you guys here. So, yeah. So we got some more interesting stuff we're going to have to cover. We'll have to watch some of our vocabulary words and stuff, but we can still get the message out.
Yeah, we could. There's so much going on right now, and yeah, we've been threading the line, not really want to talk about anything negative or perceived negative that's happening, because the most important thing for us right now is to not lower our vibrations. That's the most important thing. Yet we are watching the most pivotal time in history, perhaps more pivotal than the U.S. Revolution, the Civil War, the World War I, World War II. We're watching history unfold right before us.
We are. So these are important times to cover. I mean, things that are unfolding now, I can't call them normal, but these are a few of the last normal days, or what we perceive to be normal, that are going to happen. That's what I feel. I feel things are going to change drastically here very shortly, and it'll have like a transition time, but when we look back in retrospect, it'll be like, bam, everything's changed.
Yeah, most definitely. Everything is changing. And hello over there in South Africa. Hopefully everything is going okay over there as well. I know the weather's been crazy everywhere. And Karen Lynn says, we signed up for this. You are right. Brother Mark, yes, you feel that too. And Brother Mark J, he's somebody that meditates like us every day. And, we always get, like I'd say, at least an hour in between our meditation and QiGong. And lately, we're probably spending 2 hours or more between meditation, QiGong, and doing mantras. It's so key to go within. It is right now, guys. You got to go within. Pretty soon, the world is going to get even more chaotic than it is right now, so we need to be prepared for that. And we're glad, Ferraro Rochelle, that you do love this channel, and we are honored and blessed that you are here with us. Raven says 4 advertisements before it let him in, and more than likely it'll get demonetized. Like the first one we did this morning was, and then the second one they buried. But, it is par for the course, because, this is the way we make our living, because we dedicate our entire day to this, as well as doing energy work on people and, basically counseling people. Otherwise, this is our entire focus. And so we're blessed to be able to do this, and we live minimalistically. And I think a lot of people are going to be living minimalistically soon as we go through this transition.
Yes. I mean, it's just something that it seems like we can start to get used to now. When we're really fortunate right now to have still some time to kind of let ourselves adjust to changing ways. And I think one of the best things that we can do is, kind of download all of our our belongings, go through your stuff, kind of dismiss things that you don't really need anymore. Go through and ask yourself, is this something that I need or something I want? And just sort of downsize. I think that's kind of spiritually, that's a good thing to do.
And of course, we're going to get the buffering. It's either the buffering or we get the echoing. But we're used to this. And so I see Bill's in the house. Good to see you. Judy K. Hope everything is well over there in Southwest Florida. Yeah, we all need a little wiggle room for sure. Karmadoc's in the house. Glad you made it. Captain Trips. I'm glad you love the channel too. So as I was saying, I want to focus on the positive, want to focus on really more about the spiritual and keeping ourselves healthy in these times as well. Because they are going to be stressful, and, of course they are stressful right now, but chances are it's going up as far as what we're going to see coming. Before we get all into this, if Cindy's okay with it, we just got done with meditation before, taking a look at the news, and then I just felt like, we got to talk about this stuff, and then, sometimes you don't really want to give anything energy, but at the same time, when there's 5-ton elephant in the room, you can't kind of ignore it either.
Mm-hmm. No, you can't. You really do need to take a look at it and give people the tools that they need to help them through it. And that's just exactly what, we need to do, is we need to give you guys the tools. Like, what do we do to stay calm? How do we go within? And we do a bunch of different things. And I think if everyone could start putting in an hour of their time to some of these practices, you're actually raising the vibration in your immediate area. Even if it's just for your own family, you can help change the situation to make it not as severe as it may have been.
Definitely. So in our meditation today, we were both getting like impressions of things. And one of the things that Cindy was seeing, if you're okay with sharing, go ahead, I'll let you speak.
Well, I just saw their infiltration was really, that's what they kept showing me pictures of. Oh, thank you so much. Thank you. Raising the vibes. Absolutely. Thanks for your support. We appreciate it a lot. We really, really do. But what the guides kept showing me today was people, they were infiltrating, and they showed me they were infiltrating a lot and everywhere. So, that's what we have. We have a lot of people that are infiltrating. I would say soldiers. They were dressed in, fatigues and stuff like that. So, it just didn't look good. It didn't look good at all. And I think we just need to avoid the lower vibes, but understand that things are going to change.
Yeah, there are many things going on at one time right now. And most definitely, if you're a student of Nostradamus, and I know many of you guys watch Naughty Beaver, who is always entertaining. His videos are some of the most fun you're going to watch. And interesting and insightful. And I started studying Nostradamus back in 1977, to date myself there. 1977, I started studying them to the point where I had quatrains memorized. But I did the same thing with the Bible, too. I've always been a little bit different as far as that goes, as I've actually handwritten, and in order to put into memory like the book of, many different books going back into the Old Testament, most of the Old Testament prophets, because I was so hung up on prophecy, so caught up in prophecy. So I would actually, handwrite them in order to remember them, like the book of Daniel and stuff, and Joel. And so Nostradamus, clearly, there's a lot of his quatrains that we could see were probably fulfilled. One of his famous things is he called Hitler Hister, but then Hister's also a name of the Danube in an old dialect, which is curious there again because he's pinpointing that area. There's so many of his prophecies that seem to be pretty accurate, but of course they're done in such a way that there's always a way to interpret things one way or another, and we find that throughout history with pretty much most prophecies out there. There are a few that have been very, very straightforward. But one thing we could clearly see in a whole bunch of them that don't seem to be fulfilled yet is looking towards this time, because he clearly talks about another world war. And then he also talks about a worldwide revolution that's kind of going on at the same time. And it's a revolution that's going to be basically global, and it's separate from the war. So in his letter to his son, Caesar, he says to him, "But my son, lest I venture too far for your future perception, be aware that men of letters shall make grand and unusually boastful claims about the way I interpreted the world. Before the worldwide conflagration," which is like destruction, gives you the impression of a fiery destruction, which is to bring so many catastrophes and such revolutions that scarcely any lands will not be covered by water. And we've seen tremendous flooding, and we know about the pole shift. We know about the idea of crustal displacement coming with the pole shift. Like if you look at the Adam and Eve story by Chan Thomas, it talks about 1 to 2 mile high waves. It talks about 300 to 1,000 mile an hour winds. Those are pretty intense things. That was classified by the CIA and then declassified. Does that mean it's going to be like that now? No. And I do think that we can affect our reality. If we look at Edgar Cayce's prophecies, well, it looks like a lot of them are coming true right now. But then he thought a lot of those that are coming true now were going to happen about 40, 50 years ago. So again, did we affect our reality, push those things out, maybe mitigate them a little bit? I think we do have that power. And we know there's things like other dimensions. There's multiple dimensions, multiple possibilities. We live in a multiverse. We recognize that now. Many scientists recognize the multiverse theory as apart from the universe. Our entire universe might be just one cell, single cell into something bigger. So when we look at it from that point, we could also see jumping timelines and jumping into something that's not so bad. But what he sees here is basically so many catastrophes and such revolutions, a worldwide revolution that he has talked about, that scarcely any lands will not be covered by water, and this will last until all has perished save history and geography themselves. That is why before and after these revolutions in various countries, the rain shall be so diminished. And so he's talking, there we have massive drought, and he also talked about the water, so massive floods. We have both of those things going now at really very, very high, if not unprecedented levels at one time, as far as our recorded history, when you're putting everything together. And so this is why before and after these revolutions in various countries, the rains will be so diminished, and such abundance of fire and fiery missiles shall fall from the heavens, that nothing shall escape the Holocaust. So then when we look over to the Hopi, what do the Hopi say about these times? They say that the U.S. is going to get attacked from the lands that first got the light into the world, the lands that first had the knowledge, the ancient knowledge, like India and China and the Middle East, like Persia as well. So they say that they are going to be the ones that start this conflagration. And thank you, Judy K.
Thank you, Miss Judy K. You're awesome. Thank you.
We love you, and stay safe over there. So, you're talking about definitely war, unfortunately, and the Hopi see that. And the Hopi say that the only place that will escape it will be their area. And Hopi land is in northeast Arizona. And we've been through that area along with the Navajo and spent a lot of time in that area. And it's interesting, too, because just south of Hopi land, I feel like there was tremendous past conflagration. It made me really, really dizzy in that area, and Cindy could feel it too. In fact, there's an asteroid crater there that's one of the biggest on the planet, and it doesn't feel like an asteroid to me. And Cindy felt the same. It felt like we were looking at an ancient Holocaust that happened.
It did. I mean, the things that energy can do to a person, even though nothing has happened. It's pretty amazing. I mean, just going through an area that really throws you off like that. And so what does that tell you about our energy? What can our energy do? Our energy lingers, and it lasts and it lasts and it lasts. So it's really important to make that energy an uplifting, positive energy, because guess what? That's going to last and last through the ages too.
Yeah, when we were in Nevada, we've just got such impressions of just destruction again. And you could see it, and there's just evidence of it everywhere. That civilization, there was a massive civilization out in the western U.S., and it was definitely obliterated. And I don't know if that was the time of Lemuria or sometime after that, but you could definitely sense it. And so Nostradamus also talks about pestilence and exactly what we're seeing going on. And all sorts of things, everything coming together at one time period as we look at downtown D.C. that's boarded up ahead of, the 3rd of November. That's a big day. Big day. And as we said before in the book 1900, The Last President, when that election came in that book, that was the critical election that led to the second U.S. civil insurrection, war, conflagration. That was on November 3rd, too. And, of course, written by the same guy that wrote Baron Trump's Adventures. And then we have, interestingly enough, one of the major players in this book's name is Pence. I mean, you can't make these things up. So Nostradamus was a huge proponent and supporter of the Roman Catholic Church. And we've talked about the church's ties, going back through history, Charlemagne, starting with Constantine, and how the Roman Empire basically has just morphed. And, in effect, the British Empire was a version, and the American Empire. And some believe that we were never really free from Britain in some ways. So, this grand changing of the guard, this timing that we're in right now, wow. I mean, there is so much going on right now, and many people are sensing it. Many people are not sleeping. They're not sleeping as we look at boots on the ground in Philly. And you could see the comment underneath it. So this is National Guard that was called up to help with the situation in Philadelphia. And some people made comments there that it seems like some of them are pretty nervous. And, well, yeah, because we're heading into uncharted territory on not just U.S. soil, but global soil. Because, what's happening here, it's happening in other countries in other ways as well.
It is. And, this is going to be the supposed new normal for everyone. And there's really no escaping it. So the only way out truly is to learn how to go within. And right now they have us so busy, like our lives are really busy, and we have to go places, go here, go there, and do this, do that, pick up this, we need this item, that item. We've never been taught to just slow down and go within. And that's what's going to get us through this.
Yeah, and as we've been trying to say, and we put up the second video today, which got really suppressed as far as the views. A lot of this division has been fomented, to use the words of Albert Pike himself. It's been created and manufactured and inflamed. There's a bellows that's being used to fan the flames of what's going on. Yet it's undeniable that people around the globe are waking up. They know something's wrong. They know something doesn't feel right. And so, unfortunately, so many of them, the majority of the masses, are getting pulled into this left-right dichotomy, conservative, liberal thing, whatever. You could. There's so many different ways that we're controlled, although, of course, religion and politics are two of the most major ones, and also through food, and also through just economic turmoil. Look at the economic turmoil right now because of the lockdown that's on. It's destroying lives. We had talked about, I wish people would actually get the stats on the amount of people that have given up on life to the point where they leave, if you know what I mean, because of the effect of the lockdown on them economically and just socially as well, not being able to live your life. So we always see the numbers about, knew this, knew that as far as different cases. But what about the people that, their lives have been ruined from the lockdown?
Oh, it's terrible too. I mean, they've taken these people who probably had lives where they were going 160 miles an hour just in general, and they were busy, go, move. And then you come to a screeching halt, just a screeching halt. And it's like everything behind you just starts to pile up behind you because you still have bills to pay, kids to feed, mortgage to make, car payment, and everything has suddenly stopped. That is such a psychological blow. That's something that could cause some pretty severe trauma.
Most definitely. As we see, the PA governor orders hundreds of National Guard to activate because of what's going on there. And, the fact is, again, this is a critical time. It's all about how we act in this time. Do we need change? Oh, yeah. We know the system is broke. You can't put a Band-Aid on this. That's a bottom line. You cannot put a Band-Aid on what we see going on. As we look over in Poland, and Poland's kind of going crazy. See, again, this is global. This is happening pretty much on every continent. Of course, not Antarctica, but maybe it's happening underneath in the top secret military bases. Maybe there's battles between the Anunnaki and the Ijiji going on. We're going to get a Wikipedia now for Anunnaki again. It's so interesting. They tip their hand by when they always have to put the little Wikipedia disclaimers, as if we're all in kindergarten and can't see through that. So, Poland is up in arms there. As we see over here, as this is going to reload, this is just a mass of humanity taken to the streets in Poland. And as it says here, something extraordinary has happened in Poland. This story has not got the attention it deserves. Night after night of protests, big crowds after a court ruling that further limited its restrictive abortion laws. So there's different topics that people are really, really wound up with. It's not just the lockdown, but that is a major piece to it, and that might be the straw that breaks the camel's back. Of course, we all know, what started the situation up in Milwaukee and then Portland and Seattle, and this is also over in Poland. Look at the mass of humanity out there in those streets. Look at all those people out there.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many. They're just it's incredible. There's an incredible amount of people at this. I just hope they clean up after themselves. I do. People do need to get together. Hopefully it's done in a clean way.
So if we did not have any of this going on right now, right? If none of this was going on right now, I think a lot of people would be putting the puzzle pieces together because they would notice that something is different with reality itself. They would notice that many of them are seeing things out of the corner of their eye. They're waking up at 3 a.m. They're sensing things. They're noticing that they might be thinking about their sister. And then a minute later, 30 seconds later, the phone call comes in from their sister. The CIA and the FBI both did studies of what's going to happen when the magnetosphere declines. And cosmic rays come in and cause mutations. And Robert Felix read a book which I'm halfway through with, talking about evolutionary leaps with these cosmic energies that are coming in. In these times, that's exactly what happens. New species emerge. And what is here on the planet changes, and we are changing. And if we weren't distracted by all this stuff going on, which is definitely worthy of distraction, because in many cases, this can be a very, very life-threatening situation that we see going on. But then we would be really talking about and noticing the subtle changes that are starting to be not subtle as we go through the changes that are going to lead to ultimately a whole new earth. That's really going to be the bottom line. We're waking up. We're changing. Our DNA is changing. They have actually seen 3 and 4 strand DNA now. It's a scientific fact as we head back towards 12 strand DNA according to some legends and theories. And part of what's happening right now, as you see the taxi driver helping a fleeing protester escape a bunch of armed riot police, is that people are recognizing that there's a lot of things wrong with the world and it got to change. And they're frustrated and they just don't know how to make it change. And so frustration can lead to anger. Anger could lead to violence, which could lead to lower vibrational states, not clear thinking, not clear judgment, and lead to a lot of issues and unrest. And that's obviously what we're seeing. What we need to do is to find ways to just basically it's kind of like putting a triangle choke for you guys that are in MMA on your opponent and basically put them to sleep, so to speak, by getting out of the system. It's getting out of the system you have to have an alternative to go to. If you don't have an alternative to go to, what are you going to do? So right now all we have is a lot of chaos and destruction going on. People are waking up, but they just don't know how to bring about efficient change. And believe me, I don't have all the answers. There's people like Michael Tellinger that have put some suggestions out there, like Ubuntu, like creating small communities that work together in harmony, and whatever your strong points are, that's what you contribute. If you're a mechanic, then you'll be the mechanic for that small community. If you're a farmer, then you're going to help with the farming. If you're a doctor, you're going to help with doctoring. And it goes on and on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, you can put yourself in a situation where you can use your talents, use what you're good at to trade things. And it's not going to be like an overnight process. And everyone's going to have different ideas of what the ideal thing is. But just for your own personal self, what are you going to do? Like if the system goes down, do you have things to trade, like seeds, colloidal silver, stuff like this? I mean, just to have it. And because it is useful, would be a really good idea. Having gold and silver, little things like this we can use to kind of help get us ready for some change. And there is with any change, there's a transition period. So I think it's just as important to get everyone at least ready for the transition.
Yeah. So Carre, or I would think that's how you say it, says, sometimes I wish I wasn't an empath. It's hard. Well, what happens when the entire world is becoming loaded with empaths? It could be very tough for the world, and that's part of the situation that we have going on right now. And, it's interesting, and I'm not sure if we talked about it today on the other videos, but when you look at the alignment that's in effect right now astrologically for this election, it's the exact same alignment that we had back in 2000. Remember hanging chads? Do you remember Florida flipping?
Yes, and when it comes to a lot of people becoming empaths, that does make it difficult to form little communities because some people don't understand that their energy affects other people. And that can make it difficult to live close to certain people. And I'm not saying anybody's bad or anything. It's just that you feel certain people's energies and it might not work with yours. But what you can do with that is start working on your energy field, strengthen that up so you're not so vulnerable. And sometimes that takes a lot of time and healing, but it is doable.
And we see Italy. Here's another country. This is happening all around the globe. Again, this is happening all around the globe. And this one's against the lockdown that people are protesting. So people know something's got to change. They just don't know how to react to it. And they're frustrated and they're angry. And of course, when November 3rd comes, sometime late, maybe into the morning of November 4th, I'm sure there'll be people that are very unhappy. And with, as we were saying, the astrological alignment, it might be very, very well that one side gets declared the victor sometime very late on the 3rd or in the morning of the 4th. And then a day or two, maybe a week later, it gets flipped. And it's the other side. And how are people going to react to that? How is it going to feel to them? Because this is without a doubt the most polarized election year we've ever had. And I do feel that's exactly part of the plan. As I've said, we came off of Obama, which so many on the right believed, he wasn't even born here, he was illegitimate. And many people on the right thought that Obama was even the Antichrist himself. And then we go to President Trump, who's the exact opposite. The people on the right, for the most part, absolutely adore him and love him. The people on the left view him like the people on the right viewed Obama. What's the likelihood of swinging the pendulum that far one side to the other? Or is it perhaps all been part of this great theatrical story that we've seen laid out before our very eyes?
Yeah, I mean, there's just so many things that could be going on. And right now, things are just changing so fast. And, I think our focus needs to be on helping teach people how to go within, how to make your surroundings, work for you, be a little more in congruency with the energies around you.
Yes, and again, this existence that we find ourselves in is a temporary one. We are eternal beings having a 3D physical experience. And just like when you go on to an amazing roller coaster ride, or one of the rides at, say, Universal Studios, like Harry Potter. I remember going on Harry Potter, and I loved it. It was fabulous. While you're on that ride, you forget about everything else. It's so much fun. And then it's over, and you're back to a different reality. Well, life is actually like that too. And when it's over, we'll be back to a different reality. So it's all about what we do in this time. And we cannot let ourselves be pulled down into the chaos, because this is a time of great opportunity for us to rise up and above. And this is exactly why we have all the distraction going on right now, to pull us down.
Yeah, this is true. And, the video that we did today, it was all about not being divisive. And it's like, we know we hit the sweet spot when they're giving us about 1 view per 100 people that watch it. We know we've hit on a nerve.
And we jump over to Barcelona, and I know it's buffering. It seems like it's either one or the other. Like I said, it's either echoey sound or buffering. And I thank you guys for your patience. So we jump over to Barcelona, and we see the same thing in Spain. So we were looking at Poland, we were looking at Spain, we're looking at, well, I didn't include France, but there's been in France and there's been in the UK as well. Obviously, the United States. This is truly a global situation. As Christine says, you have to strengthen your fields, your energy fields, and QiGong, your Wei Qi fields, which is, basically it is the magnetosphere for the body. Just as the earth has a magnetosphere, so do you. And the energies coming in for you could actually be building up and creating a stronger energy body if you're taking in the energies consciously with a feeling of love and gratitude, and also emanating it outwards. So this is a big why we're having the chaos right now, because these times are times of tremendous opportunity.
They are, we can look at it that way. That's a beautiful way to see it, as opportunity to change, change things for the better. Everybody's has to make their own personal decision, but what are you going to choose? What do you want to manifest? Do you want to manifest a more peaceful surrounding? You can do that. We can do visualization. And this is another reason why they're creating all this chaos around us, because they think that the only way we can do anything is to go outside of ourselves and really cause a lot of chaos to get people to listen. I know that there needs to be something done to create change, but I don't think it needs to be this.
So we have a request for a roar, and it's not from Grizz, but Thomas wants you to give a roar.
Oh, God. Okay. You ready? Roar! I've gotten good.
There she goes.
I got better.
Grizz has been good. We talked to him about 10 days ago, I think, about that. He's just been doing his own thing too. Grizz is ex-military, and so he's preparing in the way he feels he needs to prepare for his family and loved ones, and he's got a big heart. as well. So, Spain, same situation ongoing. And, over here in Thailand, now Thailand's a monarchy. And Thailand, they're protesting as well. Again, this is global. This is definitely global. And your rising star says, thank God it's temporary. Yeah, this is temporary. But we do have a decent amount of time probably to go through these events that we see unfold right now. What we have gotten, and Sanika, correct me if I'm wrong, is I think the time period building up to, somewhere around the middle of 2024, maybe 2025, might be the peak of this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this is definitely a building up, and many things are temporary, and that's a good thing to keep into the back of your head.
Yeah, so, even with the chaos that will more than likely ensue after whatever the election outcome is, and as we've seen before, actually what Cindy had seen, and again, timelines can change, and when we go to try to look closer, the Galactics are saying there's a lot of cloaking going on right now. There's a lot of, they're trying to hide their cards, so to speak. Mm-hmm. But we did see an outcome, and this is going back to, I think, August, where it appears that it won't be either one of the people that are in charge right now in charge. And that could be because if we do have a case of Marshall, LAW, be declared, then, that's who's going to be in charge. It's going to be the military. And, in this particular scene, we see Idaho Lieutenant Governor Janice McGeachin, and she's demanding a stop to the restrictions in her state, and she's driving around with a gun and a Bible in her protest. Everybody's going to do things in their own way. That's the bottom line. And so much of that is how we were brought up, what system we were brought up into. That's why I think it's beautiful if we do a comparative study of like all the world's philosophies, religions, and scriptures, and then try to find that common ground.
Yes, because, everybody needs to do things in their own way. People have different belief systems, and they have a certain way to get to a goal, and it might not be the way you got to that goal, but they're a different reflection of source. So they should explore what they're doing, and they should have the right to explore whatever is going on to get to where they're going. That's our God-given right. They're trying so hard to strip it from us, and we don't have to submit to that. We don't have to submit to anything that's going to take our power away, because really the power is all coming from within.
It is. I'm going to try to change the stream setting here, if it's possible to set it on the fly. Yeah, I can't reset it right now. So, yeah, there is so much going on right now, guys. So much going on. But the most important thing is to be at peace in your heart. Obviously do your preps. And hopefully everybody's done their preps already. That's, because we're really at a particular time and point where the Galactics had told us, be ready for 3 weeks. Now, the government said 6 months without the grid. The Galactics are telling us there may be 3 weeks where everything kind of gets shut down. Mm-hmm. Shut down. Thank you, Rochelle, for that, as we do love Cindy's roar.
Oh, thank you so much, Rochelle, and thank you so much, Karen Lynn. We appreciate you guys.
Yeah, most definitely. So they have given us, a 3 week likelihood. Now, if you guys check out our brother Mark at Wages World, there's been a lot of activity all of a sudden coming up from the sun. So the sun is getting more active. And besides the challenges that we have on the streets around the world, and we're looking at Bolivia, so we got South America, we got Europe, we have Asia, we have Africa as well, we have the United States. This is everywhere. This is worldwide. It really, really is worldwide. It's just incredible what we see going on. And thank you, Karen Lynn, too. Love, peace, and be courageous. Exactly. And just support love, support compassion, because it's going to take that. And, we might see the people on the other side ideologically from us, if we are taking a side, have compassion for them as well. Because, again, so many people are just born into one system and they blindly accept a system. I was born into a Democratic family. Everybody voted Democratic. And then I moved to a Republican state. And, it changed my mindset a lot. It really, really did. And that was really kind of key in getting me to step totally out of that whole matrix.
Yeah. There's a lot of different things we can do, different ways we can go about things. It doesn't have to be like brutal. It doesn't.
Yeah, Steve Harvey there. What you're saying, yeah, and there's a lot of very, well, it's, I don't want to say the word scary, but there's a lot to that. I'll just leave it at that. There's a lot to that, a lot going on with what Steve Harvey's talking about, because it's been reiterated several times. And there are a lot of sources that are going deeper into it. I was going to do a video and just put it up on Brightian and BitChute because I know it'd be safe over there. And perhaps I will, because we do have to talk about those things, because it's part of what's coming. It's totally part of what's coming. So there was a question too. We don't do nothing. Don't take back the power. Don't give them the power. Titch Grant was saying. Well, I think what has to be done is there has to be alternatives. There has to be alternatives in place. And now, with just a handful, 4 days before the election, that's not much time to set up an alternative, but you can work with your family, your friends, and just get out there and start to have a plan. And as we were saying, utilize the skills of all the different people in your life. See how you could come together and support each other. I do think there are going to be communities breaking off. More than likely, you'll see small towns, very, very small towns and communities that will just kind of say no to everything that's happening around them and maybe be little oases of peace. We were in one not too long ago in a different state, and we're blown away how life seemed absolutely normal. And it was so refreshing to see, people going about life as normal, and then pass through another state, and it's like, well, this is not normal at all. This is exactly what's making everybody sick, literally, and frustrated. I think you'll find a lot of small communities doing their own thing, and becoming these little oases outside of the system, and that's what needs to be cultivated.
Definitely. And, I think you guys are going to be, wherever you're at, your information and knowledge is going to be important. Even if your loved ones, close families, if they're not listening to you now, that's okay. There's going to come a time and a place when they will. And they'll be very grateful you know what you know, and you can do what you can do. So don't get frustrated. Don't give up. Don't get angry. Just keep on keeping on.
Definitely. And don't give in to the chaos and become a part of the chaos. Rise above the chaos. That's the key in these times. And this last one here we see, this is over in, this is in Africa. Yeah, the governor of Anambra State. And same thing going on again all over the place. A turbulent week occasioned by the ENDSARS, because that's what they're calling it over there. Yeah, they're still putting it together like the other plague that was upon the land before. So, every continent we're seeing this, every single continent. The key thing is we will not allow ourselves to be pulled into it. We'll prepare as best we can. Obviously, you're going to need food and water, medical supplies, things like that. And perhaps some cash in hand. And if you guys are the investing type, maybe you have a little bit of gold or silver. But also seeds, growing food, being self-sufficient. Self-sufficiency, it opens up so many doors. So many doors. And, working together to be self-sufficient. That is much more doable than trying to do it as an island all unto ourselves.
Right. And I mean, going YouTube right now is still a really good wealth of information where you could find out what could you have to trade when the time comes. So YouTube has a plethora of things, ideas for you when the system starts to go down. So, we're all going to be under a lot of stress. So you don't want to be empty-headed and empty-handed when that time comes.
Lulu Bell says, breakaway civilizations need to pop up. Yes, that's a great thought. Starting it off in small little communities that hopefully will be tight-knit. And, there's a lot of that going on right now. And that's the way to be able to survive these times and be able to, still live our lives in the way we want to live our lives instead of the way we're being told. Because, our freedoms are most definitely being taken away. There's no doubt about that. We could see that. And we are being assimilated, or they're trying to assimilate us into a Borg. And so we're going to resist that, keep our individuality, but yet not give in to the negative energies.
Right. Definitely not give in to the negative energies. And that's going to take some, willpower from ourselves. But we were kind of sent to school and we were raised to do things for the system. We were raised and taught to be like batteries for the system's bigger companies so that we could go out and become a banker or a lawyer. These are all to be little batteries for the system. And I wish they would have started school out where they would be teaching children, like, how do you build a house? How do you garden? How do you run a farm? Things like this.
And then having a nice, peaceful life away from the system, because the system creates so much stress. It really, really does. And it creates this void in us. And I've shared with you guys, too, my parents never owned a house, and neither one of them ever made more than like $20,000 ever in their lifetime. So, we were always week to week, hand to mouth, basically, and renting. And, we had to move often for different reasons. And so the only thing I had in mind as a kid was to get a house so I could at least be stable. And that was my only goal. And then when I achieved that, and I was like 22, everything felt empty all of a sudden, because it was like, wow, okay, I did that, but now I almost feel tied down in a sense. And that was because I was in the system. So it wasn't until probably like around 48 or 49, about 6 years ago, 7 years ago, that I actually got out of the system, and to a degree, as much as we can, and that I no longer worked in the corporate world, was working for myself, and kind of gave away everything, mostly what I had, and it's been just a peeling away process of getting used to less and less and less. More people are going to a minimalist lifestyle. More people are living in tiny homes. More people are living in homesteads. And, that's basically the goal. We have the camper, so we're mobile. And, we've been blessed with some places to stay for some periods of time. But still, we're flexible. But at some time, you're going to need to be growing food and doing the like. We did have a little property that we set up, but it was in a spot that we were compromising with, trying to be very, very close to family, but it wasn't going to be feasible long term. So, we realized that. And then again, you can't think for others. So if some in your family, some of your loved ones and your friends don't see everything, then, you can't twist their arm to. And thank you, Robert Johnson, for your support, brother. We appreciate you. You can't make everybody see the world for, what you see it as. So there are going to be people that will be pulled in. There are going to be people that are never going to wake up until it's way too late. So you just have to do what your inner voice is telling you, what your inner guidance is, your higher self, the divine spirit, the